Is the 3DS still relevant in 2026? I'd say yeah, absolutely. Even now, I've still got a backlog on this thing that I keep circling back to. These are games I've been meaning to start for years, games I've kind of been saving for a rainy day, and games I know I should have played by now, but just haven't. And the more I looked at it, the more I realized this isn't just a pile of unfinished games. More like a snapshot of what I've played over time, what I avoided, what I waited on, what I wasn't ready for yet, and what I just kept pushing into someday. So today, I wanted to go through my backlog properly and talk about why these games are sitting here in 2026 and why I'm still genuinely excited to eventually get to them. Hey friends, I'm Autumn. Welcome back to Cozy Cartridges, your channel for calm, nostalgic handheld games, especially of the JRPG and farming sim variety. If that sounds like your vibe, grab your favorite snack or drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. The first part of my backlog is probably the easiest to explain, but also the most mentally loaded for me. These are the games I didn't ignore because I wasn't interested, but because I knew they were going to demand a lot from me as a player right from the start. That starts with Shin Megami Tensei IV, which takes place in a fractured version of Tokyo where societies collapse into competing forces of angels, demons, and human ideology. You play as a samurai navigating this world, slowly uncovering what's really going on beneath the surface. Gameplay wise, it's a first person turn based RPG built around the press turn system where exploiting enemy weaknesses gives you extra actions, but mistakes immediately cost you momentum. It's extremely strategic and it rewards system knowledge over experimentation in a pretty unforgiving way. That's exactly why I kept putting it off because I always knew it wasn't going to ease me in. And if you've been on this channel the last couple of days, you know I finally started chipping away at it, and some of you have assured me that things get better after the first dungeon, but I'm still on a struggle bus here. Then there's SMT IV Apopcalypse, which expands on that same world. You're still dealing with demons, fusion systems, and turn based combat, but the story takes more emphasis on party dynamics and how different perspectives shape the outcome of the world. I've also been told this is more of the gameplay game as opposed to SMT IV Vanilla, which is more of the story game. I always felt like I needed to properly understand SMT before even touching this one, which is why both have been sitting here together for so long. And then there's SMT Devil Survivor, which takes the SMT formula and turns it into tactical grid based combat. Instead of standard turn based combat, you position units on a map while engaging demon teams in each encounter, sort of like Fire Emblem. The story is more grounded in a modern apocalypse scenario where a group of people are trapped in Tokyo during a demon outbreak and are given limited time to survive and make decisions that affect who lives and who doesn't. Combination of tactical pressure and narrative urgency makes it feel very intense, and that intensity is a big part of why I've always hesitated to start it. I only have the patience to die so many times in a row, guys. Next is the game that didn't really intimidate me mechanically, and spoiler alert, I actually really enjoyed the first one, but I wasn't ready for it story wise. Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth is a first person dungeon crawler that brings together characters from Persona entries 3 through 5 and places them into themed, movie inspired worlds. Each dungeon is designed like a cinematic set, and you explore them by mapping out grid based labyrinths yourself as you move through them. Combat is turn based and heavily focused on party synergy, elemental weaknesses, and skill coordination. When I originally got this game, I hadn't played Persona 5 yet, so I felt that the character interactions wouldn't really land with me the way they were meant to. Now that I've spent more time with the series and have completed at least one 100-hour playthrough of Persona 5, I feel like I'd be able to better enjoy this game with all the context. Next, we've got games I've actually chosen to hold on to on purpose. These aren't games I forgot about or never got around to, they're more like comfort reserves. Kind of games I've been saving for a really bad day or a really bad time period when I just want something familiar and reliable from series I already trust. For me, that starts with the marvelous Xseed era on the Nintendo 3DS because I've always felt like their 3DS games just hit differently. There's a certain charm and depth here that for a while I didn't feel strongly on the Switch, although to be fair, the Switch 2 era has been starting to turn that around a bit for me. But anyway, back to our 3DS entries. Story of Seasons Trio of Towns is a farming and life simulation game where you grow crops, raise animals, build relationships, and gradually settle into 3 different towns, each with its own culture and rhythm. The gameplay is built around daily routines and long term progression, where every in game day feels like a small step into a much bigger, slower life. It's relaxed, structured, and just consistently feel good in a way that makes me not want to rush it. I want to play it when I actually sit down with it and let that routine sink in while romancing my favorite bachelors. It's a series I already know I love, and that's honestly why I've been saving it. There's always that small part of me wondering, what if future entries just kind of suck? Then we have Pokemon X and Y, which are turn based monster collecting RPGs set in the Kalos region. You explore routes, catch Pokemon, build a team, and move through gyms in a very, very familiar structured progression loop. Mechanically, they're simple compared to everything else here, but that's exactly why they belong in this category. Pokemon isn't something I go to for challenge or novelty, it's something I return to because I already understand it. It's predictable in a comforting way, and sometimes that's exactly what I want. What makes those games so easy to hold on to is that they're comfort picks. I already know I'm going to enjoy them and I want to experience them at the right time. But that doesn't mean every game from my favorite franchises feels that easy to jump into. Some of them sit in my backlog for a completely different reason. Not because I'm saving them, but because I know they're going to take real time, focus, and commitment to get through properly. And okay, maybe also because I'm waiting and hoping for a chance to experience them with you guys on stream. Fire Emblem Fates Conquest is a tactical RPG that focuses heavily on strategic combat positioning and resource management. Conquest, in particular, is known for its difficulty with carefully designed maps that don't leave much room for error or grinding. It's the kind of game that demands focus and consistency, and I know I can't just casually dip into it. I need to properly commit to understanding its systems from start to finish. Then there's the third route in the entry, Fate's Revelation, which acts more as a neutral story path that brings together different characters and perspectives from across the game, and uses the same tactical systems. Together, these feel less like unfinished games and more like long term commitments I haven't fully set time aside to yet. Mostly because I've been putting my time into multiple playthroughs of Three Houses. Yeah, my bad. Okay. So with Fire Emblem, it's never really been about interest. It's just about finding the time to properly commit to the games. But then there are other games in my backlog where the situation is a little different. These are the ones that caught my attention at some point, but never quite made it into regular rotation. Maybe because of some mixed reviews I've seen. Conception 2 Children of the Seven Stars is a turn based dungeon RPG where you form bonds with characters and use those relationships to generate party members called Star Children. The gameplay loop revolves around dungeon crawling mixed with social bonding systems, and combat is built around traditional turn based mechanics. It's definitely a unique concept, and it caught my attention at some point, but not enough to immediately pick up and play. Then there's Lord of Magna Made in Heaven, a strategy RPG with a combat system based on positioning and movement where you essentially bump enemies into attacks. Outside of combat, it leans more towards a relaxed character focused tone in a small village setting. It stood out to me when I first saw it, but like the games in this section, it just never became a priority. If you've played these two games in particular, let me know down in the comments whether I should bump them up higher into my backlog list. So that's a wrap on my backlog games that I physically own. But there is one left I want to add to my collection. It's just been a little out of my price range. And that is Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology. Radiant Historia is a time travel RPG where you navigate branching timelines to prevent disasters and explore alternate outcomes of the same events. Combat is turn based but heavily focused on positioning enemies on a grid to create combos and control flow. Although I could play this game through the H shop, I've just been waiting for it to appear in my local video game store at a good price because you guys know me, I love my physical games. So that's a wrap on my 3DS backlog. What about you? What games are in your backlog? Do you still play your 3DS today? Are there any games on my list that you think I should make a high priority to play? Let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications for weekly cozy gaming content. Until next time, may your backlogs be manageable, your favorite systems never collect dust, and your 3DS always have one more game to discover.